Well, maybe I can help you with this discussion. It's got a lot of moving parts and I didn't explain them very clearly. So, what I'm looking for you to do after you get a really good feeling for Luntz's frames, those talking points, the five that are listed on page whatever that is in the middle of it, 117 or something, and then the words that work in the boxes. That's the first thing, is get to know Luntz's talking points from his document. Then I want you to take your time with this and look at these videos. Larry Kudlow, look at minute 606. And he's Trump's lead economic advisor. He uses one of the talking points from Luntz. It's not by accident. Mr. Kudlow doesn't know a thing about climate change, but he knows the message he's supposed to say. If you want another, and then I want you to just listen to that. Go through this generally. Don't hurry, okay? Take your time with each one. Go back and forth between their talking points. Look at the time, 6:06, and see if you can figure out which one of Luntz's talking points they're using. Now, this guy here, Ryan Zinke, is just stellar. He uses at least 3 or 4 of Luntz's talking points. It's really, really cool. He's got the script remembered. He's doing a great job, and he's an absolute liar. I've got a little bit of a breakdown. He lies about the temperature change at the end of the century. He says 0.2 degrees. It's a bold-faced lie. What that was a prediction in 2008 of what would happen by 2030 if people adopted the Copenhagen Agreement. But what we're looking at is what happens by 2100, and most scientists agree that it's going to be between 2.7 and 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1.5 and I believe it is 4 degrees Celsius, if we don't do anything. And he's saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever we do by the end of the century will only lower it 0.2 degrees. The truth is we could probably lower it basically 2.7 to 7 degrees. Well, pardon me, 1.5 to 3 degrees Celsius. So pay attention, and here's a breakdown of his disinformation. But he uses a ton of Luntz's points too. So look at how he uses those talking points by Luntz. He's not responding as somebody who is knowledgeable about climate change. He's responding as somebody who knows how to get those disinformation talking points out there. It's a classic performance. And then here's kind of a fun thing about how Mark Zuckerberg wanted to tour Glacier National Park with their scientists and climatologists, and Zinke, Secretary of the Interior, would not allow the scientists to ride in the same vehicle as Zuckerberg. They didn't want them talking about how the glaciers had receded by almost 50% in the last 40 years. So that's a really fun one. Sean Hannity is just fun. He's not maybe quite Luntz, but he's definitely tobacco strategy, attacking the science, attacking the scientist, and and then creating all these ad hominem things that, you know, as it says here, liberals want to destroy our American way of life. In other words, going green, going renewable is just an attack on the American way of life, and according to him, has nothing to do with helping the environment. He's a grand liar. He's really polished. I love him. So check out how he spreads the lie about climate change. Now, Rick Perry is classic. He uses one of the key, it's not the exact words, but you'll find he's in the spirit of one of Luntz's key talking points. And that one is the idea that scientists can't predict. That's one. And the other one is that scientists haven't made up their mind. The debate hasn't happened. So he's really cool that way. He's a great liar. And again, he knows diddly plus squat about climate change, but he does know Luntz's talking points. He's a pro. He's great. One of the best liars going. And check out what he did when one of his photographers took a picture of him giving an old you know, uh, bromance hug to the CEO of one of the biggest coal companies in the country. This is really kind of fun. Little short newspaper article. Now, Ted Cruz is great too. He's a grand liar, and he's the best because he's so polished. The guy went to Princeton. I mean, and he's so posh. It just sounds like, by God, he's true. And then I have a link for Skeptical Science unpacking his lies. So he's kind of an interesting breed. It's outright lying and misrepresentation. It might not be a direct Luntz point. So he's got his own batch of lies, but I want you to get a feel for that. It's really quite good. And then finally, Bernie Sanders is having fun with Scott Pruitt, Trump's former EPA slash fossil fuel, fossil fuel lobbyist Scott Pruitt. Imagine putting a fossil fuel lobbyist in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. So Bernie Sanders is on quite a roll, and you'll see some of Luntz's talking points there. So, give yourself a couple of hours to enjoy this. If it takes till Friday to finish your responses, go ahead and, respond back to each other over the weekend. I hope this clarifies what I want you to do, and then to turn it into a short list, I want you to, in this case, find the Luntz talking point, explain how it works, how Kudlow puts it to work. In the case of Zinke, you'll find several Luntz talking points. In the case of Hannity, it's more of a tobacco strategy, attacking your opponents ad hominem. But, get a couple of those lines going. When you get back to Rick Perry, you can go right to Luntz talking points. They use it like a playbook. And similar, well, Ted Cruz is going to be another just grand liar. And I think what you can do with him is it's just bold-faced lying and misrepresentation. And then finally, Bernie Sanders is going to butt up against Trump's EPA guy, Scott Pruitt. And Scott Pruitt is going to come back with Luntz talking points. So I want you to make the connection whenever possible between Luntz talking points and these guys. And when it's beyond Luntz, Hannity and Ted Cruz, just kind of characterize their lies. And that's the goal, is just to see how the disinformation of climate change intersects talking heads on the media and, of course, political appointees, and in the case of Cruz, senators who represent the fossil fuel industry. Hope this helps you get oriented. Sorry I wasn't as clear as I would have liked to have been with my short description in the discussion.